Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Master Top 5 podcast, number 1, finally. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very first podcast of Master Top 5. I know you have already a lot of questions. Why this podcast? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward. Because we wanted to have a better way to communicate with you. Master Top 5 show and mastertop5.com are based on communication between the audience and our show. Yet, with just one episode per week, sometimes an episode every 2 weeks, we couldn't really build enough content based on your own feedback. So we want to add something a little bit more confidential, if you will, perhaps a little bit more easygoing, if you will, to give you more contents and to give more connection with our audience. Nevertheless, we will have in this COVID time, which is quite difficult to put in connection different people, we will have easily more guests on the podcast rather than on the show. That being said, what's going to be this podcast? Well, first and foremost, there will be no cut. This will be one take, straightforward. And moreover, we obviously are going to have extra top fives that didn't get the cut on the show. And we are going to have guests probably in the future. The setting that you're seeing won't be always the same. It might change. We don't have a perfect pattern or template to follow. We will adjust our aim week by week, podcast by podcast, based as always on your feedback. We will answer right here live to your questions. We will get questions from our socials, so mastertop5.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even on my own socials, in particular Ivano Cheers for Instagram and Ivano Cheers Official on Facebook. That being said, I rather answer general questions about TV, the TV show about Master Top 5, of course, rather than very personal questions. For those, I have my own YouTube channel and my own socials, whereas I can answer. So, it feels good to start something new. Hopefully, it will be successful. We are already planning eventually to do it more often and perhaps to do it live, which might happen sooner than later. So just stay tuned. For somebody that is watching right now, I am Ivano Cheers, and I am the host of Master Top 5 show. And at the moment, I'm also running this podcast. Let's start with the top 5, shall we? What is going to be nice in podcast is that first and foremost is way easier to record. It's just me in front of the small camera with a very quick setup, and so we can also talk about actual news or issues or whatever it comes in the news. And that's, I think, something quite good, isn't it? It's more direct. There's no lagging in time between what happens and the show that obviously is pre-recorded. So I would like, on demand by our audience, start off with a top five, shall we? So since everybody knows that in the US a new president is being elected, now we don't do politics, we just report facts. So right now we are going to count down the top 5 richest US presidents ever in the history, which is quite interesting because you probably wouldn't imagine some presidents are rich they were. Starting off at the number 5, we have Theodore Roosevelt. His net worth at his peak was obviously adjusted by inflation, was 139.7 million. Theodore Roosevelt was, by the way, the 26th president of the United States. He was in charge from 1901 till 1909. Most likely, all his money were inherited by his family, from his family, and was based on a large trust fund. And it did little to nothing to increase his wealth. It was, let's say, rich enough. At the number 4, we find Thomas Jefferson. So we go more or less a century behind. It was actually the 3rd president of the United States from 1901 to 1909. Actually, exactly 1 century before Roosevelt. And his net worth at its peak was 236.8 million. And Thomas Jefferson basically was so rich because he inherited 1,200 hectares of land near Charlottesville. And again, another president that became very rich because of his family. Basically, yeah, that's why I would never be a president of a nation. Stupid joke. Let's see, number 3. Nothing more, nothing less. That's George Washington, right? The very first president was actually very rich. He was in charge from 1989 to 1997. And yeah, of course, everybody knows that George Washington was the very first president of the United States. And he also inherited a very lucrative plantation on the Mount Vernon, and he got this from his half brother. Nevertheless, he earned also good money as a general, and then as a president he had a good paycheck. Think about that, at the time his presidential salary was $95,000, which was more or less the 2% of the total US budget, which is a huge amount of money for today's standards. So George Washington had all the interest to be the very first president, right? Smart ass, yeah, definitely. So one of the most beloved US presidents has been John Fitzgerald Kennedy, which was also the 2nd richest president ever of the United States. He has been the 35th president, in charge from 1961 to 1963. Everybody knows why his mandate was cut early, was cut short, and his net worth at its peak was $1.1 billion, which is huge. the guy was filthy rich from his family. Obviously, he was born literally into money, and he obviously, like anybody else, inherited all his wealth. Don't you forget that back in time, his father, Joe Kennedy, was one of the richest man in the United States, if not the richest. Was very big in bank investments, if I'm not wrong, but take it with a grain of salt. I quote unquote it. So before we mention before we state the very richest USA presidents of history, let's have some honorable mentions, shall we? So I would say Andrew Jackson with 132.6 million. And we have James Madison, fourth president, with 113 millions. And Lyndon Johnson with a net worth of 109.3 millions. But let's see who's going to be the richest president ever of the United States, which is, of course, Donald J. Trump. Everybody knows, I guess, that he's a filthy rich guy, and let's say his peak net worth was 3.1 billion. Can you believe what you can buy with 3.1 billion? Whoa. Anyhow, Donald Trump has been the 45th president of the United States, and he was elected in 2017, and he lost the elections just a few weeks ago. So this is a recent history for whoever doesn't know it yet. Trump was born into wealth, of course. He inherited $500,000 probably already from his father, but he was a great businessman on his own, so he blew definitely his wealth, taking over the father business, the state business, and now he makes millions with or without living in the White House. Yippee-doo! Thanks to news.com for being such a good source. Now, something that I really would like to touch on in this podcast are your questions. I know you guys and girls have a lot of questions, and obviously, because this is the very first podcast, we go to answer some of the past questions that never had an answer before. I picked them randomly, obviously. This is from the Instagram account of Master Top5. This is from Ludvilla699. No, whole 99, sorry. And is there any chance to have a live show of Master Top5? Well, I tell you what, we had big plans for 2020 back last year and 2021. We wanted to do a Master Top5 live event, more than one eventually. We wanted to have some episodes on the road, abroad, not necessarily in Canada. And many gigs were already planned and fixed. Unfortunately, COVID struck and we had to change our plan. Nevertheless, we tried our best to cope with the situation, and thank you guys for being such a loyal followers. But yeah, definitely if the views keep going up, and if hopefully the COVID will be beaten, I'm quite confident that we can organize something in 2021 or who knows when, but that's the intention. Okay, this is, sometimes I don't look at you just because I have in front a computer, you can't see it, but this is a question that partially has been answered already. How did COVID affect the sorry, I can't read. Yeah, probably is. Okay, this guy is from Brazil, Chico. How did COVID affect the programming of Master Top5? Okay, probably it means the schedule of Master Top5. Anyway, as I said already, like every kind of activity, Master Top5 show, mastertop5.com, has been heavily hit by the pandemic. But sometimes bad things come for a reason, and we just try to focus on whatever we could do, and we try to do it in the best of our possibility. So I hope you're happy with what you're watching nowadays, and hopefully there will be room for improvements. Thanks, Chico, by the way. Hello to the whole Brazil. I've been working a lot in Brazil years ago, and it's not that far away from my country. Okay, so next question comes from my own social networks. So, hi Vano, kudo to you. How did you? How did you move from the movie industry to being a successful presenter? Well, Melissa. Okay, well, thank you very much, Melissa. Well, I'm not a successful presenter by all means, and I don't even know if I ever will be. Has been I never been actually a successful actor per se. Everything is a work in progress. Something happened in my life last year on a personal level, which I felt very, very bad. I had to clear off some demons, some ghosts in my life, in my mind, and I was quite happy to find something new. I had to find something to give me the spark, and when they offered me this job, this gig, I really just accepted, because it was a new challenge, and challenges normally inspires me, and hopefully they try, all the challenges are trying to keep the best out of me, to push the best out of me. So yeah, that's it. But I still have so much to learn. It's unbelievable. Okay, from the Facebook account of Master Top5, Ivano. Yeah, this is written literally Ivano, so it's Ivano. Okay, can you enlighten me a little bit more on the process of production? I guess you refer to Master Top5. Yeah, well, it's very easy. Like many other similar shows, what we can call popcorn. Somebody calls them popcorn shows. Anyway, quick shows. We just there is an editorial staff which I'm part of it, of course, which harvest a lot of data, requests from the audience, and then we will list definitely all the top fives, and then we pick those that we think are better suited for the show. The others that the top five that make the cut, they normally are going to be published on the article on mastertop5.com, like a post, let's say. And now we have a new feature in this big production, which is this podcast. Whereas we have more space to show some extra contents, meaning extra top fives. In details, normally we record at least 4 or 5 shows per sessions. Then all the recordings are going in the editing room, and where they do their magic, and the final product is what you see broadcast. So that's pretty much straightforward. Okay, let's see another question. Yeah. Okay, well, obviously we have a lot of spammers and trolls. So Flavio 26, thanks for make me lose time. Thanks to waste my time. I think you will feel very happy about that. So let's see another question. So I'm just trying to pick something interesting. Ivano, where are you right now? Well, believe it or not, I'm not in Canada, I'm not in Curacao, I'm not in the States. I am in Italy, and I spent pretty much really a lot of time this year in Italy because I've been locked down here. And I did work a lot anyway in Europe. So because of COVID, I was restricted a little bit in this area. Anyhow, that's not a problem. The production goes on, the show goes on. From my own social, Ivano, we all know you are from Curacao, but what is your background? What are your roots? Okay, yeah. I am from Curacao. I am an Antillian citizen, and I have Antillian passport and documents and all this stuff. Yet I was born in Italy. Yes, I was born in Italy from an Italian family. Even though I moved out of Italy as quick as I could, because I was a kid with a lot of dreams, and these dreams couldn't come true probably where I was back in time. So from there on, I started my career per se, which led me right here, right now. Okay. Let's see. Okay, some coming up stuff. This is December, guys. This is Christmas time. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, blah blah blah. But yeah, in few things are coming up. The Mr. Olympia competition normally is held in Vegas in October. Has been postponed in December due to COVID restrictions, and in Orlando, not anymore in Vegas. So we will have probably coverage of the Mr. Olympia, and for sure we're gonna have a podcast, let's say a top 5 related to the fitness world, bodybuilding world, and also maybe a special show. Then coming up on Master Top 5 show, we are going to have finally the top 5 best TV series ever chosen by you. And which is going to list actually the top 5 chosen by our audience. Has been done already before with the best songs ever. It was a great success, so it's going to be repeated now. You are still on time to go and give your vote. Go on mastertop5.com/poll and just tell us your favorite top 5. Your favorite, the top 5, your top 5 TV series ever, or your best TV series, doesn't matter. One more thing, you might win an iPhone 12, which is actually good. One more question that just popped up now, probably it's funny. Ivan, what telephone do you use, and what do you have as a wallpaper? So I'm probably in the prehistoric, but I have a normal iPhone 8 Plus, I guess, and fair enough, my dog is on it. Simple as that. So there is time for an education. Oh, another question. They are popping up like popcorns. Do you think that Master Top 5 is an educational program or just something else? Oh, that's a good one. No, I don't think it's an educational program. I mean, saying that Master Top 5 because it gives out a little bit of information. It's an educational program is probably an insult of all the real educational programs, such as documentaries and so on and so forth. That being said, I think it is more entertainment. If while you try to entertain people, you can give us some curiosity rather than information, that's always fun, isn't it? And for also I don't think we fall in the educational shows category. Simple as that. I'm just gonna be honest. One more question. No, I think there is no more time. So I want to just touch base on another top 5 just released by safe.org, which tell us, and that's quite important, based on the civic meter risk rate from 1 to 10. What are the riskiest place for catching coronavirus? So at the number 5, we have outdoor stadiums or large events, /4 large events with a meter with a score of 7.54. At the 4th place, we have restaurants with indoor seating, 7.54, so it's a tie. Then we have indoor theaters, cinema, churches, 8.15. Nursing homes stands at 2nd place with 8.73. And the riskiest places where you can get coronavirus, when you can catch the virus, are bars and jails or prisons with 8.89. On the risk scale, out of the top 5, we find anyway gyms, outside gatherings that aren't socially distanced, unbelievable, but there still are, airports, airplane, hospitals. And this is a sort of wrap up. So, what to say more? Let us know if you want to change the formula of this podcast. If you want to add more, if you want to have more content, so more Q&A, more information, more news, you name it, let us know. You can reach us out as always at mastertop5.com. You can, in the same website, you can read all our posts. You can give us your feedback. You can suggest the top 5. You can do a shitload of stuff, actually. So just go there and stay in communication with us. One more thing you can do is reaching out on our socials. You can reach me out directly on my socials too. Ivano Cheers for Instagram, Ivano Cheers Official on Facebook, whereas all the socials of Master Top 5 are at mastertop5.com. Please, since I'm sure that this podcast is also broadcast on YouTube, subscribe this channel, give a like. It will help growing, and especially let us know what you want to change on this, what you want to watch, what you want to. For sure, I can tell you in the future there will be a lot of cooperations, and that's something I'm looking forward for. So that being said, let's do it in the usual way of the show. My name is Ivano. And in behalf of Master Top 5 Show, mastertop5.com, Master Top 5 Podcast this time, I wish you a great time. And I see you for the next Top 5. Love you all. Thank you very much. Subscribe.